And hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Signposts. And of course, I have my beautiful partner here, Breanne, who's going to be here just for the introduction, as we're going to be talking about the nature of the summer and the fall of 2024. And I thought Breanne would like to come in and maybe do a brief reading on 2024, the summer and the fall, so basically August and September. And then after that, later on, I'll be doing the Tarot Zodiac Spread about it a lot more. So, Breanne, what were you able to find with August and September this year?
I mean, we can pull a few cards and see what the energies are at the moment. But I was looking into August just recently as well, and it seems like, it's kind of interesting. Even today, I keep getting the Seven of Cups, and it's kind of that energy of, I feel like a little bit of confusion going on. Nice seeing there. A little bit of confusion going on, but I'm almost thinking like with that, Spirit was talking about the portal as well. And I think it could be relating to that 8-8, like the Lionsgate portal. I think it's a really powerful time. Mm-hmm. So I guess we can see what's going on. It feels like there's going to be lots of things being exposed and lots of stuff going on there. So I guess we can pull some cards. Well, let's look at the energies coming forward here.
All right.
All right, we got 9 of Wands. See, this is so crazy. I keep getting that Seven of Cups there. So it seems like lots of exposures and stuff going on. We've got that 7 of Wands energy, 9 of Wands and 7 of Cups as well. And with that Devil over the obstacle, it feels like just lots of exposures happening, lots of things coming out, lots of clarity with that King. So I think there's going to be a lot of people. I mean, a lot of us are kind of expecting some big things to go on, but a lot of shocking, I feel like, truths to come out for sure, especially with that 5 of Swords. Lots of chaos happening.
So you said the 9 of Cups is coming out quite regularly.
The 7 of Cups, I keep getting that 7 of Cups energy. So it kind of seems like a lot of confusion. I mean, also entering certain timelines. I feel like it's really up to us as a individual and the collective. They're going down certain timelines. So what are you guys going to choose, right?
This would be very similar to what I was talking about yesterday about the divide, that a divide is happening.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have people on one side and you're going to have people on the other side, but really it's not really two sides. There's multitudes of different sides. But if we categorize it just for the basic two, that's really what we're seeing. So looking at the 7 of Cups there indicates certain degrees of confusion. And again, this is kind of a sneak preview of what we're seeing for August and for September. Has there been any other information that you've shared for the upcoming summer, fall time that you've received in your readings?
Oh, goodness. I keep getting big messages pertaining to, I want to say, the children. They keep coming out quite strong. And it's interesting because I'll get the double card as well. So it feels like this exposure of, a lot of things that have been happening with the children and a lot of corruption going on there. So I think there's a lot of light to come out. And, I keep getting a lot about food. Spirit's talking about food a lot as well. So scandals with that, I feel like just knowing kind of what's actually going on in our body or what we're putting in our body more or less, right? Mm-hmm. And all of that stuff. So it's going to be an interesting next couple of months. I mean, in the background, I was getting like, this is all happening for such a greater good and a greater reason. So there's lots of good energies moving forward. It's just still in the midst of a little bit of chaos happening for sure.
Exactly. So everybody, if you want to visit Breanne's website, her website is readingswithbreanne.com. So she just wanted to come in and just do a little bit of a brief reading for us today, kind of a prelude of what I'm going to be looking into very deeply here very shortly regarding the Zodiac Spread for August and September, moving into the summer and into the fall of what we can expect worldwide. So Breanne, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Lots of love and light to you all.
Right. And so again, check out our website, readingswithbreanne.com. She has very affordable rates. She's a very accurate tarot reader. She also does crystal grids. She also does feng shui, right? So she has many different arsenals in her palette there. So feel free to check that out. Thank you, guys. We're going to go ahead and take a brief intermission, and then we'll come right back. And we'll begin today's broadcast. So see you shortly. Okay, so everyone, welcome back to the Signposts. We're going to be doing the announcements at the mid part of the webcast from now on. So I'm going to be getting to the announcements here in a little while, kind of when we get to halftime. So first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and get started with the Tarot Zodiac Spread. So I just have two cameras here. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at Tarot Zodiac Spread. Let me just make sure the camera's in good shape here. It's a bit finicky this one. Okay, there we go. I think that's so. Need to move it up a bit more. Technical difficulties. All right. I think it's as far as it's going to go. Okay, that'll have to make do. Fidgeting around with this thing all morning. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Zodiac Spread pertaining to the summer and the fall time. So as Breanne was saying, that there's a lot of shakeup, there's a lot of exposures coming out. We're basically just watching the death of the old world, and that is exactly what needs to happen. And I know there are those who are very attached to the old world, and they don't want these things to happen. They want things to go back as they were, but that's not how nature works. I use the analogy as if when we're in the fall time and we have a favorite tree, and we love the leaves on that tree. We never want those leaves to fall. Then, of course, comes the fall time. The wind starts to pick up. The leaves start to blow off the tree. At the end of the fall, all of the leaves have now fallen off of the tree. And the desperate fool is now just clinging to the tree and say, why? Why did you do this? Why did you blow your leaves off? Why did you make your leaves fall? They're the most beautiful leaves I've ever seen. How could you let this happen? Right? And they're just clinging to the tree, and they want to even try and pick up the leaf and try to put it back on the branch, but to no avail does it happen. And again, it's just a reminder of that little whisper in the air saying, everything changes. Everything is impermanent. Enjoy everything here in the present while it lasts, because it will not come again. Therefore, this is the big lesson that we are learning. We are watching the old world fall away. And there are people who are very deeply attached to that old world. I've also likened it to the idea of people with a blindfold on attached to a blood-soaked pillar, thinking that that pillar is their foundation, but they haven't seen it for what it truly is until they're able to remove that blindfold. Right? So it's kind of a combination of those two analogies. And so we are seeing the old world dying. We are seeing the snake skin being shed off the planet Earth with a new skin that is about to come together. So even when the old world dies, a new world will always take its place. That is the nature of things. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that a little bit more today, pertaining to the energies of August and September, as I do a tarot zodiac spread on the situation. So we will go ahead and begin that now. Here we go. Okay, so that's the first house, Aries. This is the second house, Taurus. Move it up right here so you guys can see it okay. Okay, get it on camera here. First house, second house, third house, which is Gemini. Fourth house, Cancer. Fifth house, Leo. Sixth house, Virgo. Okay, it's a little bit over, so I'll do that. Seventh house. That's really much. Let's see if I can move these a little bit more. It's just a matter of positioning them properly in the frame. That's a bit of the challenge. So seventh house, Leo. Oh, sorry, not Libra. Libra. Eighth house, Scorpio. Ninth house, Sagittarius. 10th house, Capricorn. 11th house, Aquarius. 12th house, Pisces. And of course, the card in the middle, how we're reacting to everything. Okay. Oh, it is going to be a very, very intense summer, my friends. It really is. Right? So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this spread, starting off with the first house here, which is Aries, and it is aspecting the 7th house, which is Libra. Okay. So from what I can see here, everything is just falling on its head, right? We're going to see more and more intensities, and this is kind of like what I've talked about in previous webcasts as well too. I've been saying this quite a lot. It's just, like I said, it's a red hot summer, but I think it's almost like a white hot summer. Everything is boiling over. Everything is falling apart at the seams. Everything pertaining to an old world is about to crumble away. Pillars are about to fall. The rhetoric, the exposures that's coming, just kind of like what Breanne was saying in her 5-card reading, right? I'm getting pretty much the same thing in this whole deck, in this whole reading here. We are seeing the old fall away. The devil is basically being exposed, and we're starting to see the devil move on its way. I mean, for example, if we've seen the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games, right? A lot of people are talking about that. And so many people were outraged about how the opening ceremony was. I'm not going to talk too much about it. But nonetheless, what happened shortly after that opening ceremony took place was that all of Paris blacked out. There was an outage shortly after that happened. So to me, that is, again, another sign of intervention taking place, right? The devil basically getting spun off the wheel and saying, all right, well, you guys like darkness so much, so here you go. Here's your outage. You guys want to play with darkness? There you go. And they start panicking, right? So this is what I mean, is that there's a very deep symbolism to that, of what we've seen in the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games, where we saw a power outage, where we saw everything just basically in blackness. And that means their time is up. They're finished. So basically, you could say that ruined their own demonic ritual, pretty much. Everything regarding to that completely backfired on it. And this is exactly what I said the previous week, is that intervention energies are going to take place. And I've had people say, oh, Brad, you've lost all credibility, and all this talk about intervention energies and stuff like that doesn't seem practical. Well, my friend, a lot of these things are not practical until they actually manifest, because all we're really doing is I'm just seeing these things basically perturbating in the ether. And then they start to come together. And this is exactly what I said would happen pertaining to Paris, France, pertaining to their opening ceremonies, is that intervention energies are going to take place upon the opening ceremonies. And it did, right? So this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is it, right? You may not believe me, but nonetheless, as I said, the intervention energies on this planet are abound. There are going to be events that are going to be seen by many to be supernatural, that we just can't believe are going to happen. And I'm telling you, you guys, this is going to happen. My job is to teach you guys about the greater reality, because I can see these things unfold. You know, the ability of being able to tell a person when these things are going to happen or how these things are going to happen is certainly difficult, but certainly telling you that when you see something out of the ordinary like that, where there is a demonic ceremony taking place, and all of a sudden the power goes out Paris-wide, where they're just completely covered in darkness, my friends, that is intervention. That's what I'm telling you, right? Just like I talked about last week. So prediction came to pass. So taking a look at the Wheel of Fortune, like I said, together with Libra. So the Wheel of Fortune, like I said, is everything's coming together because groups are forming. So this is kind of like the lines of people that are coming together, the groups of people that are coming together. Lines are being drawn in the sand, and there's going to be division, right? So there's going to be groups of people coming together. But like I said, we're also taking a look at, this represents also the material plane. It also represents people helping one another at the same time. So even though we have division, there's going to be assistance, right? I guess you could say it's based upon what you feel the alignment of yourself is pointing you to. And there's going to be people who are going to be helping you out. So there's assistance taking place, there's group efforts taking place, but there are also multitudes of different groups upon the planet that are forming here. And people are going to be pro this or anti that, and pro this and anti that. And it's just going to lead to, like I said, the Great Divide. It's leading to repopulation. It's leading to the events where the old is being swept away, right? Everyone's going to choose their side. And someone says, oh, Brad, I don't have a side. I don't have a side. Right? My side is this or my side is that. Well, that's still a side. So nonetheless, you're going to be choosing a side. And like I said, there are going to be people who want to help others, who their heart is just glowing and just radiating this beautiful light, and they want to help others. And that's still representing a side, right? You want to help others out. You want to empower others out. That's great. That's a wonderful side to choose, but nonetheless, it's still a side. Okay, so groups are going to be forming. The division is happening here. Now we go to the second house, which represents Taurus, okay, and it is being aspected by the 8th house, Scorpio, okay. So what I'm seeing here by Taurus, like I said, that can represent the financial arena, that can represent, again, material living. And we're seeing everything being reborn in the material world. I kind of look at this as like the material world card as well, too. The earthy material world card. Can also represent the nature of speech. Can also represent the idea of making deals and so forth, like the businessman or the businesswoman. Okay, but this is telling me that industry is going to change. That everything pertaining to our material way of life is going through a new birth. Right, we're going to see new ways of conducting ourselves. We're going to see new ways of businesses coming together. And like I said, it's kind of like what I'm saying is that the person you do not expect to awaken will awaken. Right? People in that sense who have seen a lot more, people who are like in big tech companies or big government or anything of that nature, people who you never thought would awaken and are seeing things and basically have had their ignorance cleared away are going to awaken. And that's kind of the feeling I'm seeing right now, is that there's going to be maybe these billionaires, right? Maybe these wealthy people, whether it's celebrities, whether it's big tech company owners or anything of that nature. Some of them may start to see the light, and they're now going to start siding with particular groups that are all about working together with humanity, right? This is going to be a really big eye-opener. The days that we have praised to have people wake up, especially people in that sense who have a very strong nature of authority in business, in big tech, in big movies in that sense, are now going to start waking up. And this is kind of what this is telling me, is like those really big, head honchos in that sense. And like I said, big business and all of that, the financial means, the business, the tech companies, all of that. It feels like there's just a big divine intervention taking place with them, where their eyes are being opened. Right? We're seeing that a lot, for example, with Elon Musk. We've also just seen that not too long ago with the CEO of Facebook. Right? So, like I said, we're seeing immense change taking place. Right? So this is great. Then, of course, like I said, Scorpio, the 8th house, representing significant change. Scorpio is all about change. It's all about the idea of secrecy coming out. We're moving in the right way. I don't feel like the whole idea of the dark cult is going to be that much of a factor for much longer. They're playing out their part, but it kind of feels like their entire authority presence is diminishing more and more every day. It just gets more and more ridiculous. You're seeing more and more ridiculous claims that they're making, and especially in Canada, it's ridiculous. Like, okay, guys, we've now added 30-year mortgage payments, so now we got an extra 5 years to pay off your property. But again, looking at the incredible tax hikes and the taxation and the hyperinflation, it doesn't help anything, right? It's just, it's a ridiculous trick and pony show here. It's, again, that three-ring circus. So we're seeing ourselves moving in the right way because the old is dying out, right? And that's really what Scorpio represents. It does represent death. It does represent exposure. It does represent great change. And we're seeing that taking place right now. So as wild and crazy as everything is, there's an order to it, right? And you're only going to see that order, like I said, is when you start looking at things with the bigger picture, right? You start moving much more into the right brain. You start seeing these things. You start seeing how everything connects together. Now, of course, there's a lot of things happening at the same time, right? We're getting this particular scandal happening. We see this particular type of disaster happening in this country, and this country has this particular type of disaster. And you're basically seeing thousands of different events happening all at once. And this has been prophesied as well, too. That as you get closer to the end of great change, the end of an era, you're going to see that these events are happening rapidly, right? That is a sign that the old era is about to die and the new era is about to come in. So that's a wonderful thing to see, beyond all of the intensity that's happening. So then we go to the third house. We go to Gemini, which again is all about communication. Okay, and then it's aspected by the ninth house, which is Sagittarius. So Gemini, communication. Okay, cutting through the BS. I think this is coming up like what I've talked about before. People are not going to fall for the old shtick. They're not going to fall for the old lies. They're not going to fall for hurt. They're not going to fall for regulations. They're not going to fall for these policies, for taxation, for hyperinflation. People are seeing what's really going on, right? It's this, they're trying to keep up this stage. They're trying to keep up this backdrop where everything's so rosy and beautiful. And it's like, everybody, please keep on your rose-colored sunglasses, right? Keep them on, please. And people are just starting to take them off, right? And you're seeing life for what it is. And pertaining to these human systems that have been manipulated for thousands of years, you are horrified by what you see. Like I said, the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games is one example of that. That was something horrific. That was something despicable. That was something detestable. They were basically doing an ancient demonic ceremony in front of everybody, in front of the entire world, right? And people fought back. And people said, no, we're not going to tolerate that. Boycott the Olympics. And that's happening, right? Intervention at play. As I said, it would take place. So again, we're seeing the idea of cutting through the BS, right? The nature of communication, the nature of speech, the nature of how we're conducting ourselves, what we're seeing throughout the world. People are waking up, and it's a wonderful thing to see. They may be getting angry, they may be getting upset, they may be getting furious about what's taking place, but they're seeing things, right? The most important thing is that they've taken their blinders off. They've taken off their rose-colored sunglasses, and now they're seeing everything as it needs to be seen. And what is the first reaction you're going to have? You're going to be shocked. You're going to be angry. You're going to be outraged, right? This is unbelievable that this is carried on. Great, right? As much as I'm not saying that you need to react and go into deep states of anger, but it's great that you've taken the blinders off. It's great that you've taken off the blindfold. It's great that you've removed your rose-colored sunglasses and you're seeing the world and these artificial systems that have been kept under your nose for so long as it is. Now we can change it, right? That's the great thing about waking up, people, right? It seems intense at first because it's very much like that movie They Live, right? Where the guy puts on the sunglasses and he's looking at everything, obey, 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 right? And it's kind of like the opposite effect. You have to really take off the sunglasses and you're going to start seeing that. But that's, like I said, I think that movie is much more of a documentary than an actual fictional movie. So that's really what I'm seeing here is it's like looking at They Live, right? Not just putting on sunglasses, but you're taking them off. You're taking off the blinders. And now you're seeing everything around you, right? Everybody has that, well, you can say energetic sunglasses now to see things as they really are. And this is the wonderful thing about awakening. The wonderful thing about awakening is the question will eventually come, how can we change all this? What can we do to make this better? That's amazing. When we get to that question, a person says that, okay, what can we do about this? What can we do to make it better? That's like a blessed moment. I love it. So again, this is aspecting together with Sagittarius. Okay, so Sagittarius does represent good fortune, does represent foreign travel. It does represent spiritual enlightenment. It represents advancement. It also represents the father. So good fortune certainly is ahead, even though it doesn't look like it. Like, Brad, the world's in shambles, and you're saying that things are going to be getting a lot better? Oh, yes. Not right now, but in the times ahead, in a few months, right? As we start moving into 2025, there's going to be some intensity there. But as we start moving later into 2025, things will be getting better. Not right away, but again, 2025 is kind of like a haze year, right? It's kind of like it's a haze. It's like you're moving through the fog, and then you come into clarity. So 2025 really represents endings, right? It represents endings. It represents conclusions. It represents culmination. And that is basically what I would refer to as the year of 2025 being the year of culmination, right? It's a culminating year. And everything that has been exposed, everything that has basically seen exactly for what it is we're just going to watch it fall apart right away. It's the year of endings. And then we start 2026. And 2026 is a year of new beginnings, right? So we have to kind of go through this. 8 is still kind of walking through the sludge. That's what we're in right now in 2024. We're still kind of walking through the sludge. We're still trying to tread our way because we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're nearly there. Okay. And we're noticing that more and more people are joining us. Like, oh, well, I'm not alone in this tunnel. Here I am holding the torch. And I'm saying it's 10, 20, 100, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 25,000 people with me. Great. Let's go. This is what I'm talking about. You are not making this journey alone. Okay. You are not seeking the light alone. You have thousands. You have hundreds of thousands. You have millions. You have hundreds of millions of people that are walking together with you. And guess what happens when you have that many people walking together with you? You feel so secure. You're an army of light, right? And that's what I'm seeing happen here. And this is what the good fortune card is telling me, is that people are taking action. There's good fortune. People are standing up. People are waking. People are taking the blinders off. People are seeing things as they really are. And the right course of action is going to take place. So that's good. Okay, now we go into Cancer, which is the 4th house, and then we go into Capricorn here, aspecting Cancer in the 10th house. So the 4th house, justice. Okay, so this again represents the nature of property. This can represent household, but this to me represents the idea of the average human being, is that they demand justice for the injustices that they are seeing. Okay, so this is the idea, is that this is where the anger is going to come from. This is where there's the heat. The heat is like, how dare they do this? I want justice. How dare they're charging us all of these taxes and hyperinflation? I want justice. How dare they make a mock of the Last Supper in the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games? I want justice. Okay. How dare they burn Jasper, Alberta to the ground with directed energy weapons? I want justice. How dare they do that to Maui? Right? How dare they do that to California? To all the other places that they have used point source directed energy weapons towards that, we want justice. And this is where there's a hunger. Okay. There's a hunger for that justice. There's a demand for that justice. And that's where things will get really, really intense. People will see more and more atrocities taking place in this world. And like I said, we have the internet to basically show us these things. It's a lens, right? And we look into that lens and we see exactly what's happening. We see how people are getting hurt. We see how people are losing their properties. We're seeing how people are getting thrown out on the street. We're seeing how people are getting becoming homeless. We're seeing how people are getting all their money taken away. We see how politicians are just sitting in their big comfy booths trying to think of more taxes to throw at people. We're thinking, again, more pointless arguments about hyperinflation and nothing's being done about it. And it's just creating outrage. People are angry. But in a way, it's a wonderful thing because the blinders are off. Okay? That's the good thing about that. It's going to be expected that people are going to be angry, that people are going to be outraged. And like I said, yes, this is continuing in August and September, and even go into October as well. To October too, as well, represents a very big node month. That October is going to bring about some significant intensities, some significant exposures. All right, we're all gung-hoing for the nature of elections here as well too. 3-ring circus, I know. But like I said, it's just people playing out their parts. We pretty much already know who's going to be sitting as president, right? And people may say, oh, well, maybe it might be the opposing side. It may be the Democrats and stuff like that. No. There's going to be surprises for sure. There's going to be some surprises. There's going to be some shock and awes. There's going to be some unexpected twists and turn. At the end of the day, to me, I'd say it's more of a 90% chance right now that Trump will be president. Okay. Kamala Harris is probably one of the worst choices for a president. It's almost that she's as foolish as Biden is. So she just doesn't know how to speak to people. She doesn't know how to talk. She doesn't know how to engage. She doesn't know how to think on the fly. And she's going to fall apart very quickly. It wouldn't surprise me if they tried to substitute her for somebody else. I have a feeling that she's going to blow something. Something is just going to get blown out of proportion. I think she's going to slip up. I think she's going to trip and fall. And it's going to embarrass the DNC. And they're probably going to want somebody else, but it's going to be too late, right? They're just falling apart. They're blundering fools. So that's what I feel is going to happen. And that's why I'm talking about this one here, because this often represents my trump card, right? My trump card represents the King of Pentacles. And that tells me I feel Trump will be getting him. I can't say 100% because everything changes, right? But 90% I think is as high as I can go with it. But I think there's definitely a good 90% chance that he will be in office, okay? All right, so moving on to the 5th house, which is Leo, which is your strength, your inner courage, right? Which represents what people are standing up. Yeah, this is almost the feeling, like I said, they're taking that staff and they're fighting against the machine world. They're fighting against everything. And they're basically going to stick it to people, right? There's a lot of people in Canada right now that are not paying their taxes. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people in the United States right now too that are not paying their taxes. In fact, it's a very big movement that's taking place right now, is that no one is going to be paying their taxes, not because they don't want to, but it's because they don't have the money, right? They have 3 or 4 people living in a 1 or 2 bedroom house or 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, and they're basically working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. They don't have money to pay taxes, right? So my feeling is that we're watching the end of income tax. I would say between 2024 and 2025, these would be the final years for income tax, because I think if we get into 2026, I don't even think it's going to be around anymore. I think it's going to be gone. Right? So this is telling me people standing up, people, again, taking it to the man, right? And then coming into the 11th house, which represents Aquarius, which can represent gains, which can represent, here's prosperity funding. Here's prosperity coming together. So here's prosperity programs. Like I said, I'm not saying Nasara. I'm not saying that Nasara couldn't be a thing that could happen, but just not the representation of how it's come about. Similar programs, the spirit of it will come about. But I'm just not seeing a Nasara Gesara. I never really have. And even though I know it's even in the logbooks, I just don't feel like that is something that's going to come about, but something similar. Could even be something better than that, right? But prosperity funding, the idea of an allowance, the idea of, again, money coming back to people, I think that this is now starting to take form. Okay, do I feel it will launch right away? Probably not right away, but to me, this is telling that there's prosperity coming. There's a prosperity program or prosperity programs or prosperity initiatives that are coming together. Maybe they'll start talking about it. I'm hoping so. Okay, then we come into, let me take a look in regards to how they aspect each other. People are fighting because they want prosperity. People are fighting because they want to be treated fair. They want things that are justified. They want things that are fair and just. And that's, again, what I'm seeing here with the aspect. There's fighting because we want things just. We do not want the wealthy 1% taking 99% of the pie so that the 1% of what's left in the pie is given as scraps to the remaining 99%. And that's how I can put it. Brad, can you say that again? We don't want the super wealthy 1% taking 99% of the pie so that the 99% is only left with 1% of the pie. There you go. I think that's the best way of putting it. Okay, let's go into the 6th house. So 6th house, again, is Virgo, right? This is all about seeds. This is all about seeds being planted. This is all about something that is going to be great. It seems intense right now. It seems violent. It seems vicious. It seems horrifying. Like I said, we're going to see people who may even start doing riots. There may even be riots around the city. There may be people, again, that are just so outraged and so angry that violence could also ensue at the same time, right? Which I never ever condone. But again, it just depends in regards to where people are and pertaining to their anger. I'm seeing people fighting at bank ATMs, right? Just getting in each other's face. And I'm seeing, again, racial hatred with people just staring each other down, wanting to go in that way, right? Just really for no reason. It's just that anger that's in the air. And this is why I always say it's so important to get together in groups and send love to the planet, right? We have to let cooler heads prevail because people are getting angry. People are just getting, completely aggressive to the point where they're just taking it out on people that have nothing to do with them. So I never want to condone that. We need to work on that, okay? So again, 12th house represents Pisces, which represents loss. The old world is falling apart, and those attached to the old world are not going to like it. If you are attached with any or all of the systems that the old world represents, this is going to be the most horrible time for you, right? You are going to watch everything pertaining to the old world fall apart. We're going to see the idea of new leadership coming together, and everything's going to change. Really, it's going to be getting better. But even if you tell somebody it's going to be getting better, no, I don't want to change. I don't want to see change. I want to see everything just stay exactly where it's at because I was fine with it. Well, too bad. Not your call. Not up to you, right? And that's the whole idea, is that it's kind of like got to give you a truth reality check here. It's not your call. It's not your world, right? You cannot adapt to the changes that are coming. It's your own problem. The earth is not going to wait for you. It's not going to pat you on the head and give you a cookie and say, okay, here you go. Everything's back the way it was. Oh, yay! No. Okay, it's not going to happen that way. The old world is going to fall apart. Like the cycle of the seasons, the world is changing, okay? And so everything that's taking place right now is going to bring about a better world, a world where there is not going to be taxation, a world where there is not going to be hyperinflation, a world where there is going to be no such thing as war, a world where there is going to be no such thing as poverty, a world where there are going to be incredible innovations of technologies, moving us into even greater technologies that actually complement the earth and not hurt her and causing her to choke, okay? These are the things that are ahead. Community-based organizations, right? We're probably going to see a lot more AI and robots in that sense take over a lot of the mundane tasks for human beings. We're basically moving in that way, right? You're basically going to have a world of robots. You're going to have a world of AI, right? That's not slowing down because that's following forward with the next era. Do you guys know what the next era is? If we're looking at it in Chinese, in Chinese ways, we're looking at it as an era. The era of thought, where there's going to be a lot more digital innovations, where there's going to be a lot more AI, but there's also going to be a lot more fondness for spirituality. There's going to be a lot more fondness for connecting to oneself a lot more deeper. Okay, it's a much more lighter era that's coming together. They talk about this in Chinese feng shui. They talk about this in Chinese astrology, where we're seeing the air cycle coming in, the air era, where there is going to be development of new technology. A lot of it is going to be AI, okay? But I do not see destructive AI taking over the planet, and it's not going to be like the Terminator or the Matrix movies, right? It very much is going to be serving man. But like I said, if you don't want that world, you don't have to be a part of it. You start living out in nature if you wish. But nonetheless, if we start going much more into the metropolises of the planet, you're going to see much more AI integration. It's, as Adronis was saying, as we start getting more into the 2030s, you're going to see robots walking around, right? You may start to see people just start, or companies starting to build artificial humans and starting to see them walk around, right? So, like I said, that's really the era that we're moving into. The 13th card here, finally, which represents how we're reacting to the whole situation. So, depends where you are, right? Not everybody represents this card, but the majority of people do, because they have transfixed themselves into the material world. And everything that represents their world is in shambles. And they don't know why, because they don't look in here. They don't realize that there are big changes happening, and that these changes need to happen because it is no more different than the cycle of the seasons. Okay? So I would say don't fall into this card. But a lot of people are. They feel that they're losing everything. They're feeling that, again, prices are too expensive. Taxes are outrageous. Hyperinflation is out of control. You don't really know who to trust. You're getting all of this complete and total amplification of information that's coming to you. You're getting it in incredible packets, but you just don't know where to turn. You don't know who to trust. You don't know what to do. Okay. And I could say till the cows come home, guys, look inside your heart. Go within. Go within. And there's still going to be blowups, but nonetheless, I'm still going to say it because that's my area of expertise, is teaching you guys about the greater world that is beyond this one. All right. Okay, so that is the Zodiac spread that I have for today pertaining to the summer and the fall. So things are still going to be happening. Things are still going to be very intense, but it is leading into something tremendous. And like I said, I saw quite a lot of good benefits with this reading. There's a couple things that are kind of down in the dumps, but like I said, you're only down in the dumps if you cling on to everything that represents this old rotten system, right? So many of us for so many years have said, this world sucks. This system absolutely is horrible, and I want it to change. And here we go. We got it. It's changing. Wait, maybe I was too drastic. No. Right? I mean, I've been hearing that ever since the day I was born. Right? Being a little kid and hearing people, this world sucks. I don't like it. I want it to change. This is terrible, right? It's horrible. And we're hearing that constantly for decades. And now we're starting to see it happen, right? And it really has been the 2020s where it has become the most intense of the change of this world. Guys, we've asked for this. We have asked for change. The majority have asked us to change this world, and you're finally getting it. Why are you angry about it? Do you think that it's going to come with a flash of a light, the snap of a finger? Do you think that it's just going to be a magic rainbow that's going to come down and bring you into a new world where you don't have to go through transition? No, you have to go through transition. You have to see everything that has been corrupt. You have to know what are lies. You have to know what person or people or group have been masquerading lies for truth, trying to say that what is wrong is right. You have to see that. Okay, that's a transition. That's all part of life. That's how life flows. Like the cycle of the seasons, this is exactly how life needs to flow. Change is going to happen. The old is going to die away. The new is going to rise. Get yourself in alignment to the new. Start working on yourself, right? Don't worry about being barraged by all of this information that comes left, right, and center, above, below, right? Listen in here. Take some time. Go into personal retreat. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. All right. So again, that is my Tarot Zodiac spread. We're now going to go ahead and move into announcements before we get into Q&A. So let's go ahead and begin.
Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions, including the 3 questions by email and distance healing, are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
Get readings with Breanne and be astonished at the depth and accuracy she provides for you through her tarot readings. Breanne can create crystal grids for distance healing, plus offer Reiki and Kundalini attunements. She is also a certified Flying Star Feng Shui consultant. Visit Breanne's website and book your session today at readingswithbreanne.com.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, AetherX.co.
And speaking of AetherX.co, we now have a 30% off flash sale that's taking place that is good until the end of day tomorrow. So every single product that is on AetherX.co right now is now available for a 30% discount. You don't need to worry about putting any particular discount code in or anything like that. Just go to AetherX.co and you can grab it just like that. All right, so go ahead and check that out.
RAYD8 REGEN Centers are expanding our reach around the world, and we want to give back through our new referral affiliate program. You can earn a large income referring your contacts who would be interested in purchasing RAYD8 REGEN industrial strength technology for commercial business, as well as private home use. Spread the word and generate a commission of $360 USD per successful referral. To begin earning today as a referral affiliate, visit rayd8regen.com/referral.
Okay, so we got a lot of commission coming together with the RAYD8 REGEN system. I'm not talking about the app, okay? The RAYD8 app, the RAYD8 browser app, that is a scaled down version of the RAYD8 technology. I'm talking about RAYD8 REGEN, the technology that's being used for people that have centers already, right? So if you have a healing center and you want to integrate RAYD8 REGEN with it, go to rayd8regen.com. We're actually just starting to bring about some scientific discoveries starting today, where we're actually going to have 2 volunteers that are going to come here to my RAYD8 REGEN Center, and they're going to be doing blood tests. They're going to do blood tests before RAYD8, and then they're going to expose themselves to 3 hours of RAYD8 REGEN, and then they're going to go ahead and take another blood test. And they're going to share with me the results. And this is going to be the scientific evidence of how well RAYD8 works, RAYD8 REGEN. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be in our brand new research section on the website, which will be coming very, very soon. So I'm looking forward to that. And our final announcement is Adronis Patreon. Okay, a lot of you guys have been asking for Adronis to come back and do some classes. So this is exactly what I'm doing right now. So you want to go to patreon.com/Adronis. That's the Adronis Patreon. And you can sign up for a 7-day free trial before the weekly classroom purchase, which is $18 per month, right? So you get to access weekly classrooms. You get the Adronis 4-phase courses, digital course as well too. And you also get to ask Adronis questions through Patreon. And then I create videos. I create exclusive videos. Okay, these are not shared on YouTube. You will get them exclusively on Patreon. So all you have to do is just go to patreon.com/Adronis. I suggest signing up for the 7-day trial because I am going to be doing a weekly class this week, this Sunday. And it's all going to be about channeling development and connecting with the higher self. Adronis is going to be teaching you about channeling. Adronis is going to be teaching you about connecting with star family. Adronis is going to be teaching you about connecting with the higher self. Adronis will be giving you methods about how to do this. This has not been shared on YouTube before, and it's not going to be. It's going to, well, other than this week, right? You're going to get the introductory class, but this is going to be an ongoing class. So you're going to get the first week here as you watch on YouTube, but after that, it's going to be just exclusive to Patreon. Okay, so go ahead and go to patreon.com/Adronis right now. Sign up for the 7-day trial. Be part of this Sunday's class, as he's going to be teaching some profound education about how to connect with other higher beings, to connect with the higher self, to connect with the divine within you, and using modalities for that. It's going to be wonderful. Okay, patreon.com/Adronis. If you're signing up for free on Patreon, you won't be able to access the class. It needs to be done through a tier. Okay. All right, let's go ahead now and move on to questions. So it's question time. We got quite a few here. So again, I'm going to be taking donation-based questions first. Okay, so if you do have any donation-based questions, feel free to put that on, and remember to add your question. Some people just basically give me the donation and they forget to give me a question. So please make sure you add your question as well too. Okay, I'm just going to keep a couple of my divination tools on standby. Again, I'm not channeling Adronis today through this. That's only on Wednesdays with wisdom transmissions. So it is just me responding to your questions today. Okay, so let's go to, and please guys, no personal questions, just semi-personal and general in nature. All right, let's go ahead and get started with Ben. Ben says, greetings, Brad. There are many criminal younger male migrants in Germany right now. When will they be deported? Not until everything in regards to the agenda is being exposed. Okay. And really right now, I think we're going to basically wait a few months. That could be a few months before that starts to happen. New leadership needs to come together. So I've looked into Germany just a couple of weeks ago relating to what they're going through. And they're on the verge of a very big shift. They are on the verge of something very powerful. Okay, but I'm going to tune into Germany right now, just the energy of Germany, and I'm going to look into what you're suggesting there about the migrants and just getting an idea about what is happening with them. Okay, so just please give me a moment. Okay, so there's going to be more discussions relating to a lot of the immigration problems, but the current leadership is going to deny it. Okay, the current leadership is going to be buying time. They're stalling. Okay, they really don't want to get it looked at. They're basically going to gaslight people who are complaining about it until it starts to reach a critical mass. As it starts to reach a critical mass, they can no longer deny it. New leadership will become abundant, and there will be action in regards to the nature of immigration taking a new change. Illegal immigrants that are, again, wreaking havoc in countries, because like I said, it's not just Germany. There are many countries that have this problem right now, okay? And many different immigrants who are criminals, who are, again, illegally there, are going to be deported, okay? But it's not going to happen right away. It is going to take a bit of time. Do we have a time frame of when that is going to happen? Between 2025 and 2026, okay? That's kind of the rough frame I'm getting. I'm just seeing like a date in my mind here. 2025 and 2026. So basically people are going to protest about it, right? There's going to be a lot of concern being brought forward together through governmental politics, but they're going to gaslight people, okay? So Ben, your people are going to get gaslighted. You're going to get gaslighted. You're going to go into denial and saying, oh, no, right, the nature of diversity here is what makes Germany strong. And you're just going to get the old shtick, right? You're going to get the old spiel, and you're going to start seeing gaslighting coming together. That is when they're in a state of desperation. They don't have any counter answers to the outrage, to the claims that are of outraged people. They're just going to gaslight. They're going to gaslight, they're going to deny, they're going to try and create fear control and all that stuff. Because many of these countries have an agenda, and the people that are appointed under the nature of authority are part of these groups, part of, you could say, the KM, part of the dirty players that are attempting to instigate bringing in illegal migrants. And like I said, these are not like families, and there may be some of that there, but a lot of these people are criminals. A lot of these people are mercenaries. A lot of these people basically come out of insane asylums. They are basically the riffraff of society. And I talked about this the previous week, is that this is an agenda. This is like COVID, okay? This is an immigration infiltration agenda. So if you want me to talk more about it, just go back to last week's episode, last week's Signposts. I did a whole expose on it, okay? But that's basically what's happening right now. This is why they're trying to do everything to gaslight and to buy time and to stall, to try and rip a country apart from the inside out, okay? This is their next COVID. They couldn't do viruses, so they're going to do illegal immigration. They're going to have open borders. That's the next thing past COVID. That's in their agenda playbook, okay? But it's going to backfire. But basically what I'm getting between 2025, 2026, there will be new regulations coming together where borders will now start to become a lot more secure. And I do have a feeling that Trump, if he is back in office, will be leading the charge for that, okay? So that's what I'm getting for that. So when will they be deported? Between 2025, 2026, roughly around there. We don't have an exact date because, again, dates are temporal, right? They're just markers, and markers can always change. But the event is certainly being seen from what I can detect there. Okay? Thank you, Ben, very much for your question. All right. Let's go to back to the other questions here. Okay. Okay, this one here is from Mary. Mary says, hi, Brad, the Crowdstrike incident, was it done on purpose? And if so, why and by who? One moment. Okay, well, it was like an attack. Basically, the feeling I'm getting is it was an attack. It's, understand that Crowdstrike and BlackRock have that majority connection here, okay? So really, in that sense, my feeling is that certain servers were going down and computer systems were going down, like this, systems were going down the airport in that way. I mean, they basically have this whole Crowdstrike program programmed into every single Windows computer that there is, right? Any Microsoft operating system basically has this Crowdstrike, and to me, it feels like it can be manipulated. But let's take a look at the cards, and we'll see exactly what alignment this serves relating to the Crowdstrike incident. Was this something that was done by the counter forces, or was this something that was done by the dirty players? Okay, so what I'm getting is that it was deliberate, and this was something that was very much turned on. But we'll see. We'll take a look if this was something that was done by counter force or if it was done by dirty players. Okay, let's take a look. I'm feeling it was counterforce. Okay, so here's the idea of where it is right now. There's a strength card right there that certainly represents counterforce energy. And there's the next step. To me, this feels like it was a takedown. It was a takedown of, I think, a lot of systems. I think it was a flaw in many systems that are leading to takedowns of perhaps a lot of what the KM or the dirty players utilize in regards to keeping their money secure or anything of that nature. My feeling, again, is that a switch was flicked on, and these systems, basically as a side effect, were taking down certain airport computers and all that sense. But I'm not sensing any dirty cards here. I'm not sensing anything regarding dirty players. I'm not sensing anything pertaining to Khazarian Mafia, right? So really what I'm seeing here is that it's a strength card. It was really a very good thing that this took place, that it almost felt like a shutdown. Like a shutdown was happening maybe towards BlackRock, okay? A shutdown happening towards a lot of these big tech companies that utilize these particular types of systems. And it feels like it's almost like an internal hack job. It's almost like they now have control of their computers. So, and this is also what I'm getting here in the resources. So the whole idea is this definitely tells me this is counterforce. This was a counterforce initiated plan to basically take down a lot of their systems. So I don't think that they're going to be able to, I think it's going to have multiple purposes for it. It may represent, again, the nature of the financial arena. It may represent the idea of elections as well, too. I feel a lot of their computer systems had a lot of multiple purposes, okay? And the potential outcome of this is that, well, something's been sabotaged. Something's been sabotaged. Something has been taken down. Something has been infiltrated. But the long-term future is that this is a really good thing. With what happened pertaining to the Crowdstrike outage, a global outage that hit, and my feeling is that it was the counterforces big time that did that, right? So you could call it the alliance groups, right? The alliance countries, the counterforces, okay? They basically have done this, and they've put a hit on a lot of the KM, because the KM has put together this whole CrowdStrike program. I'm pretty sure they had agendas for it, that they could basically utilize these particular types of programs within the computers to rob people, right? To take money out of bank accounts. So I don't think that's going to happen right now. I think the whole idea is that that's a timeline averted. To me, this feels, again, like another intervention. Wow. But I'm not getting any bad cards about this, right? We got the death card here representing resources, but that to me, that's saying that's the end of the KM, right? They're basically just being taken down. Their systems are being infiltrated. Their systems are being taken down. That's kind of just the feeling I have, right? And like I said, the long term, this is leading to something very beneficial. This may represent the idea of prosperity funding, right? Take it away from the KM, give it back to the people. I think that'd be great. So what I'm getting for that, Mary, is that I feel, right? And that's, again, I'm giving you guys, here's my perspective, right? Is I'm feeling that it's going to be a very good thing. I think it's going to be leading to something that's going to be given back to the people. Kind of reminds me of Robin Hood, right? Robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. Kind of feels like that situation to me. But again, just my perspective. Thank you very much, Mary. Okay, so it was very much a purposeful act. So, darling, yeah, you're right about that. Very much on purpose. Okay, well, this is a big question here. Carol Ann says, hi, Brad, can you please pull cards on Kamala Harris regarding election? Thank you. Okay, it's a big question, but like I said, we'll do, I'll look into her outcome. Right? So I'll do a 5-card reading on Kamala Harris about what is ahead for her, how her campaign is going to be doing, just basically what is ahead in regards to her momentum. All right, let's take a look. Oh, wow. It's convoluted, that's for sure. Okay. So basically, she's here to bring balance to the whole situation, right? Now, what I mean by that is that she is being the appropriate key component to the other side that is bringing about something that can clash together, something that can come together. It's kind of like you're taking the yin and the yang and you're bringing them together. And she has a representation of that, right? She's a representation. She's almost like an embodiment of the other side, right? She is the embodiment of the DNC. Okay? And it's like they're coming back together, and there's a synthesis, right, between DNC and RNC, right? The blue and the red, the left and the right coming together. She represents the epitome of that. And that's why, again, she's the right choice for this, because she represents everything that the left side is about, right? That's kind of what I'm getting through that card. They're basically on trial right now, okay? This is not Kamala Harris's presidential election. This is her trial, okay? She is basically on trial right now. So to me, this feels like this is something that she needs to do, otherwise jail time, right? So to me, it's almost like she's on a probation, or she's on trial, or something of that, because we're seeing judgment pertaining to her, right? She's basically, she doesn't realize this, but she's going into the snake pit to be completely and totally exposed, right? One of the reasons why she's even doing this election that she's not even aware of is it's going to completely expose her. It is going to expose her administration. It is going to expose the DNC. It is going to expose everything to the point where there will be no confusion about what that other side represents. This is why I say that she has that kind of synergy, right? She's kind of like the yin to the yang, right? And when we have the DNC and the RNC coming together, well, there we go. We have the yin and the yang, okay? But she truly represents the polarity of the DNC, okay? But I feel like she's on trial. I feel like this is her judgment. I feel like she's in a tribunal right now, okay? I feel like she's in front of a court, and the court is the people. She thinks, oh, great, I get to move in to be president. Oh, you don't seem to realize that you're on trial. You don't seem to realize that you're in court. You don't seem to realize that every single American that's watching you is your jury. And that's what I'm getting, right? And what is her obstacle in that way? To me, this almost feels like jail time, imprisonment in that way. She is very much a criminal, okay? And I know some people don't want me to say that, but I mean, that's, I got to tell what the cards are telling me, right? What is her obstacle? The idea of being locked up, the idea in that sense of restraint, the idea in that sense, like I said, is that she's on trial. This is, I wouldn't even call it a probation, maybe, but it's to me, it feels like this is a tribunal for her, and that she's being the representative of the DNC that is going to get exposed, and that particular party, when it's all said and done, is never going to be trusted again by good-hearted people, right? Scumbags, maybe, right? People in that sense are all about manipulating people and robbing people and thieves and murderers. I'm sure they may love the party, right? But as far as good-hearted people go, who really listen, no, the whole idea of the DNC is dying, right? I feel like this is kind of the feeling I've gotten as well, too, in the near future, is I don't think there's going to be parties. I do not feel that there's going to be political parties. I think that they're going to be reformed. They're going to be dissolved. They're going to be absolved altogether. I don't see two-party systems happening in the future, right? This, I feel, is the death of them, is that it's basically going to focus much more on a one republic, right? Not the idea of parties, but the idea of a one republic, and that people can justly and fairly elect who will be the head of that republic, okay? So what is happening in regards to the next phase, where I see her resources, I almost get the feeling like she's being hung out to dry. That's just my feeling. I just feel like she's really gullible. She's really gullible. She's somewhat incompetent. She's very trusting of a person. And like I said, I just feel like she's just ready to jump off, like fall off a cliff without knowing. Okay. She, if I was to really look at a presidential candidate, she would be one of the last people I'd look at, right? She's not suited to the task, but she represents the embodiment of everything that the DNC is, right? To me, she's naive and she's very gullible and she's not very intelligent. Okay. She doesn't know how to talk. She doesn't know how to speak. She doesn't know how to reciprocate. She doesn't know how to get back. She really doesn't know how to even really defend herself. And that may be the obstacle here as well, too. Is her obstacle she doesn't know how to speak. She doesn't know how to defend herself. She doesn't know about that. Like I said, and I think it may represent the idea maybe of jail time or something, but I think there's something much more emotional that's going on. She doesn't really know how to compose herself. She doesn't know how to rebuttal, right? And that's her weakness, okay? And the potential outcome for her, she's done. She's finished, okay? Some people are saying, oh, I think she could be the next president. No, okay? Not at all. I do not see her at all coming close to even being president. Even if they try to manipulate the election. No. They've had their time in the sun. They had their 4 years because that's all they're going to get, right? I can't guarantee 100% that it'll be Trump in power, but it's certainly not going to be her, okay? And I can basically say that just with this card alone, right? This is her end. This is her outcome. She's on trial, okay? And what's going to happen in regards to the future? Like I said, I think the balance is going to ensue. Not right away, but this is going to be something that's going to happen a little bit more down the road, is that there really is going to be balancing. There's balancing coming together, harmonizing a very unstable situation, okay? And like I said, she is a representation. She is a figurehead for the DNC. She is a polarity for that party. And like I said, to me, it just feels like she's on trial. It feels to me like she's just in a court, and every American that's watching her is the jury. Okay? That's kind of what I see here. That's just how I'm seeing it. Again, guys, everything's my perspective. You don't have to believe me, but that's just what I'm getting, right? Okay. So Caroline, thank you very much for your question. Okay, this one here is from Woo Woo Woman. She says, Brad, we had smaller earthquakes in Croatia again. Could you check if there will be large ones again, and in which region? We had 2 big ones in recent years. So I think what I need to do, guys, is kind of give a bit of a timeout, because I need to pull up the map of Croatia. And I'm going to do a scan, okay? So please just bear with me. And I'm going to kind of divide this up a little bit around Croatia. I think the first question we need to answer is, are there going to be bigger ones? And then I can do a scan to get an idea of when the earthquake energy feels to be the strongest, okay? So just give me a moment as I do that now. Because I'd like to know if there is something that is going to happen, if it's bigger, or if you're just getting some small ones. So I'll just ask again where there'll be bigger earthquakes to come for Croatia. Okay. All right, let's take a look. I'm actually going to Bosnia here in September, which is the next door neighbor to Croatia. So I would like to definitely know this as I visit there, how Croatia will be doing. Next door neighbor. Okay, so. Okay. So, guys, I'm not trying to alarm anybody, and I'm not trying to put doom and gloom on anybody or anything of that nature. And basically, all I'm sharing here are possibilities. They are not definites, okay? It looks like there's bigger ones ahead, okay? So, basically, the most important thing for Croatia, for people of Croatia, please get yourself prepared. I'm not saying 100% that this is definitely going to happen, but when I get the tower here, this is something sudden. This is something expected. This is Croatia right now. And to me, this feels like there's going to be people losing their homes, maybe people losing their properties, because there are going to be earthquakes that are going to continue with Croatia, okay? There's going to be a lot of significant loss with this. Again, guys, please just take this with a grain of salt, all right? I'm not putting doom and gloom upon you. I'm just reading what the cards are telling me, okay? But there's a feeling of a lot of loss with Croatia. It feels like there are big ones ahead, okay? But at the same time, there are people who are going to be helping each other. Croatia and Bosnia and many other different countries like that have had a lot of shakeups. Okay, but the good news is that there's a lot of kind-hearted, caring people that are going to respond to that. Okay, and when we look at the potential outcome, okay, feels like there are some attacks. It feels like maybe this may be artificial quakes, harp quakes, so to speak, artificial earthquakes that are being used. The purpose is not quite clear yet. I don't really want to focus on that right now, because I do want to focus on the second question right now. It's not so much of the why, but where exactly this may hit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the pendulum, and this is something that you guys learn through resonant dowsing. Once I start getting around to the course, I'm going to start teaching resonant dowsing once I'm finished with the coaching class, and that should be around the end of August. So about the early September, I'll be putting in a dowsing course through AetherX Academy that you guys can check out, and I'll be giving like the first 2 weeks free here on YouTube. Okay, so anyways, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at that. So I'm just going to move to the map now, and I'm just going to take a look at Croatia. Okay, I'm just going to tune into its energy. Let me try that again. Okay, so I'm locked on to the wavelength of Croatia, and I'm just going to use the pendulum to get an idea of exactly when other earthquakes may strike, or basically I would say earthquake-prone zones, because this is not meant to predict the future. This is just looking at earthquake-prone zones. So I'm just scanning the area right now. Okay, so I'm going up around the area of Zagreb, Karlovac. Okay. Area called A71. Ogulin, Arsteridge, Jasidol. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing these right, but Pulaski, Sanj, Rakovica. Okay, so I'm getting a clockwise turn on the pendulum, and all I'm saying here is that I'm not predicting events here. I'm just looking at some earthquake-prone zones that the pendulum is telling me, because this is not a fortune-telling tool. Okay, this is a detection tool, and all I'm doing is just detecting where there are earthquake-sensitive spots in Croatia. Okay, so between the area of Jasipto and down by Rakovica, Plitvica Jezera, Korenica, Perusic, Otokok. Again, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing these right, but I'm Canadian. What can you expect? Right? All right. Let me just continue to go down. Okay, so going down to Gospic. Okay. Zadar. Nin, K-N-I-N. And Split, I think, is another one down here. Yeah, Split. So really what I'm getting is the central, west, and southern areas of Croatia are the most vulnerable, okay? Not so much around the east. The east seems a little bit more stable. So my suggestion would be again, you have to look inside your heart for this. You can't rely on a person telling you what's going on, okay? You got to listen to your heart. And if what I'm saying to you rings a bell, okay, my suggestion would be to pack up things and go to East Croatia, okay, towards Bosnia, because I feel like that's more of a safe zone, okay? So basically, I feel, again, like anywhere around the East 71 area here, that, again, I think just represents a highway. So up to the area probably close to about Ogulin and going all the way down south, okay, past around the Split area and around the coastlines there. That feels where there's going to be a lot of, again, all I'm saying is that they're earthquake-prone areas. I'm not saying it's going to exactly hit there, but I'm saying that those are earthquake-prone areas. That's what I'm getting through resonant dowsing here, okay? So around the west, central, west, and southern areas of Croatia are earthquake prone. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I'm not saying that something's going to hit there exactly, but they are earthquake prone. They are earthquake vulnerable. And if you're going around the area of Zagreb and going east, probably to around the area of Osijek, you should be fine. Okay, that feels like there's more of a buffer zone there, because I'm not getting any clockwise movements between Zagreb and Osijek. Okay, so I hope that helps. Like I said, I'm not saying that there's going to be any earthquakes hitting specific areas, but all we're doing on the pendulum is we're just looking at the areas that are vulnerable, that are earthquake prone, that may have, again, unstable plates, tectonic plates. Okay, thank you, Woo Woo Woman, for your question. Okay, so again, guys, that's what you can learn as you do resonant dowsing. You can look into these things. Okay. Okay, this one here is from Fishy Fun 57. Fishy Fun 57 says, will it be safe to travel by car from Nova Scotia to Alberta by car in mid-September? Okay, let's take a look. I know Alberta has had very harsh problems here with, well, we call them wildfires, but really it's all deliberate, right? I would just call them fires. But let's take a look at that firstly with the tarot. Okay. Because Nova Scotia to Alberta, that's quite a long drive. So, but I'll do a tarot reading on that for you, Fishy Fun. And for anybody else who wants to look into that as well too, maybe I'm going from Eastern Canada out to Alberta, and I just want to know if it's going to be okay for mid-September. Okay, mid-September is where I'm going to Bosnia and doing a tour over there. So I won't be in Canada during that time. Okay, so let's take a look here. So will it be safe to travel by car from Nova Scotia to Alberta by car in mid-September? Okay, so really what I'm getting is that there's going to be some shifts going on. There's going to be some movements going on and stuff like that. But I don't sense any bad danger. I don't sense any problems in that way. Again, there's going to be some stuff going on, of course. But I don't see anything that is really going to, and that's basically just representing the hope or fear card. I think that you're safe there. Behind the scenes, you're going to be fine. Okay? So I'm not detecting anything. There's certainly going to be some shifting going on, right? Just a lot of different things, physically, mentally, emotionally, throughout the collective, okay? But I don't feel it's going to interfere with your drive, okay? So if you want to drive from Nova Scotia to Alberta, I think you have a good, clean bill of health to do that. There are going to be some situations, maybe you're driving and you may see certain things on fire, okay? But I don't think it's going to interrupt your ability to drive from Nova Scotia to Alberta, okay? So from Eastern Canada to Alberta, I think you'll be okay. Just listen to your intuition, most importantly, but I don't see anything detrimental that would prevent that journey from happening, okay? So go for it. Thank you, Fishy Fun. All right. Moving on. We got a few more minutes left, so let me just go down a bit more. Okay, this one here is from Jan Zeggers. Jan says, hi, Brad. Question, can you ask the cards about the people in Venezuela trying to overturn the corrupt government? Will they have international support? Thank you very much. Okay, let's take a look at that. About the people in Venezuela trying to overturn their government. Will they have international support? Let's just kind of look at Venezuela, the people of Venezuela, and where they're going. Okay. Okay, I'm getting that card quite a bit, which I'll explain here in a minute. Okay, so the short answer, Jan, is that it's going to get uglier before it gets better. Okay, there's a lot of thievery going on. Like I said, this is kind of what I've talked about with people gaslighting and manipulating people and basically trying to use force. Okay. But the next step is that people are coming together. And you're right about that. There are people that are looking to take down their government, but it's going to be a rocky climb, right? It is really going to be a rocky climb because the obstacle truly is the dark cult. Okay, dark cult is still running things pertaining to Venezuela. Okay, and that it's really up to the people to try and make a difference. Okay. So again, they have a lot of their corrupt resources, right? Politicians are in their back pocket. Law enforcement may be in their back pocket. But nonetheless, there's going to be a scuffle, but I don't feel it's a violent scuffle. I think it's just people being persistent, right? This tells me this is not about, outlandish war that's causing casualties or anything like that. But there's going to be protests. There's going to be protests. There's going to be demands for justice. And at the end, you're going to get it, okay? Now, is there going to be international support? Yes, but I don't feel like they're going to get in the way of what's taking place in Venezuela. Right, I think they're going to basically have some phone calls. I think they're going to have some demands from the neighbors to say, stop this right now, and stop trying to bully your people, right? And it wouldn't surprise me if there's intervention that comes about in Venezuela. Venezuela is most definitely going to change, but it may take a few months, okay? It could take some time. It could take maybe getting into 2025 for that, but Venezuela is most certainly going to change. Like I said, you guys have a rough road ahead, and that's kind of what this card is indicating, like you're ready and willing and able to meet that challenge, but it's going to be rough because you are basically taking on the dark cult. Okay, you're taking on dirty players in Venezuela, but people will prevail. They will. And international support, yes, it'll be kind of like international encouragement. It'll almost be like, in that sense, international demand. What really needs to happen is more exposure about what's happening in Venezuela. People taking to their phones, posting it by the thousands, and now you have the entire world supporting you, and that is going to lead to a greater change, right? Include the world with what you're doing. That's the best way I can share it. And Venezuela is going to be liberated, most definitely, in the next few months, okay? But it is going to be a bit of an uphill climb. Thank you, Jen. Okay. Okay, this one here is from MLK. MLK says, hi, Brad. I just saw this September that Germany, Belgium, and a couple other European countries will test vaccine cards. Will it work? What's the true purpose? So I'm just going to take a moment to look into that, okay? So we're looking at Germany, Belgium, and a couple other European countries. I'm not seeing it. Yeah. I'm not seeing that coming together into fruition. They may be talking about it, but I'm not seeing anything in regards to vaccine cards coming together because there is such an exposure going on right now pertaining to COVID. And like I said, we're basically looking at accountability coming together for COVID, okay? Especially in 2025. That feels like it's going to be another different type of disclosure year, another type of, revealing skeletons out of the closet type year altogether. But just as I'm tuning in right now to Germany, to Belgium, about vaccination, no, people are going to oppose it. People are going to oppose it. Even laws are going to oppose it. It will not go. Okay, it's going to be like many other things. It's going to be a puff of smoke. Okay, like I said, there's even places like Japan that are trying to bring about more COVID regulations and so forth like that. But if I'm looking at Germany, I'm just looking at Germany and Belgium, right? I'm not too sure what the couple other European countries are, but you've named two, and that's just kind of what I'm looking at. And as I'm seeing that they're trying to talk about, people will revolt, people will refuse. There's just so much resistance towards that. And if there's so much resistance, those things can't get off the ground, okay? So just as I'm intuiting what I'm seeing there with Germany, with Belgium, I think it's going to cause an uproar. I think it will cause an uproar. If it's not already immediately dissolved, which we hope, then it's certainly going to cause an uproar and people will not resist. So the feeling is, I feel it's going to be like a puff of smoke. I feel it's going to disappear very quickly, right? So I don't feel like you need to concern about it too much. But if it does try to carry on, people will stand up against it for sure. Okay. Basically, I'm seeing that COVID is a criminal agenda, and many countries want nothing to do with it. And other countries will back other particular countries who are being bullied into it. Okay. So even if it's a worst case scenario where they try to bring the vaccine cards in, it's not going to last. So now that I've done that intuit, let's go ahead and take a look at the cards. Okay. So let's take a look again, like I said, just Germany and Belgium, about the test vaccine cards and what is ahead for that. Okay. Let's see if the cards were getting what I'm getting. Yeah, I don't see it coming to fruition at all, right? This is kind of what the cards are saying, right? There's the attempt of trying to sucker people into the vaccine cards. But to me, it feels like, here we go. We have the Four of Swords. We have rest. We have rejuvenation. Okay. We also have Mr. Blunt right here, right? You can't get around this person. This person always works with their gut. They're very, very intellectual. They will data find everything. They're stern. Okay. And so I don't see that happening. Then we see the near future card, which represents the Seven of Cups. Okay. So confusion in that way. Maybe again, trying to peddle things, trying to well, that's basically what they do, is they create a smokescreen. Something doesn't work, they create a smokescreen of confusion, and they try to launch campaigns about how it could be beneficial and blah, 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 blah. But again, I don't think it'll work, because that is telling me that there's deception at play. They're still going to try and bully countries into doing COVID, but no, it feels like the hand of justice is coming right down upon them. So I don't see this flying at all. I see this kind of fizzling out very, very quickly, because people have grown smarter relating to the entire COVID affair. Okay, so that's what I'm getting. Like I said, perspective. Right? But I don't see that becoming. I don't see you guys reliving another COVID shutdown. I don't see the world reliving another COVID shutdown. That has come and gone. That's done. Right? It's finished. It's failed. And they still try to push it because they have no imagination. They're robots. They're machines. They're trying to use that, and they have no leadership. And you can't use the same thing twice. And they don't seem to understand that. And it's just going to cause them to sink. It's going to be a sinking ship for sure. Okay. Thank you, Emma. Okay. Okay. So guys, we're pretty much out of time for today. We are running over. So again, guys, thank you so much for all of your questions today. I really appreciate it. I will be back next week, next Wednesday and next Thursday, for another episode of Wisdom Transmissions and the Signposts. We had some great questions on today. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed the Tarot Zodiac, and of course Breanne's sharing at the beginning as well too. Remember to check out her website, readingswithbreanne.com. Remember, guys, that I have the full body scan. I have the full body scan and source healing session. That is where I scan your entire physical body, looking at its energetic integrity, and that is available. Like I said, I used to have this in the past, and I'd get swamped with quite a lot of bookings, and I'm starting to, right? So August is getting filled up. So if you want to do those sessions with me, the FBS, the full body scan and source healing, that is available on wisdomtransmissions.com. Remember to check that out. Okay, that's like my most popular session right now, are the full body scans and source healing sessions. So thank you, guys. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll speak to you all next week. Om Shanti, 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 Namaskar. May it be well with you. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.